Hello everyone. Very good evening. Can you guys hear me? Can you put that into the chat? Hello everyone. Thanks for joining. Is my voice audible? Are you able to hear me clear and loud? Perfect. Thank you. Cool. So we'll wait for a few minutes. Let everybody join in, and then we get started. I understand today the timing is a little wrong. Today there's a match between India and Pakistan. Many of the people messaged me कि sir आज time थोड़ा change कर दीजिए, but I got that little late. So there might be less attendance. But anyways, those people who have joined it, who have registered it, anyway, will make sure that the recording of this session goes in. But still wait for a few minutes and then we get started. I'm perfectly clear to you guys, right? And you can hear me clear and loud. Thank you. I'll just wait for 1 minute. Yeah, so I'll try to keep this session pretty open. I'll just talk about, what all things are there in the field of Java. आप क्या क्या कर सकते हो जावा में, right? How, if you want to work for the top companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, typically, what should be your pattern of learning? What all things has to be learned in what sequence it has to be done so that you can make it big. And then I'll try to keep this session entirely, questions and answers, ask me anything types, AMA types, where I'll try to make sure that any doubts that you have about your career, about Java, about technology, how things are evolving, I'll try to, give my perspective to you people. So I'll try to keep this very interactive. ये सोनी का हेडफोन है अनिकेत. This is Sony's headphone. Cool. So I think we should get started. Shall we start? Perfect. So let me do one thing. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, are you guys able to see my blackboard? मेरा स्क्रीन दिख रहा है आप लोगों को? Cool. Great. So hello everyone once again. Let me quickly introduce myself. So this is me. You can see me on the screen. My name is Vishwa Mohan. Okay. For those people who don't know me, let me quickly introduce myself. So I have close to around 13 plus years of experience working in this company. I'm a pass out from IIT BHU, right? And the last 13 years I've worked for the company. I started my work with Oracle, right? And I think you guys all know that Oracle is the new home for Java, right? All the proprietary rights of the Java is being Oracle. So Oracle was my first company. Apart from the Oracle, I have worked for the companies like PayPal, Walmart, Amazon, LinkedIn. And I currently work as Chief Information Officer at PhysicsWala. So this is what I've been doing all these 13 years. And throughout this, whenever I had to work on any scalable product, any complex thing, right? Anything which involves millions of the users, most of the time, the tech stack that has been used across these companies that I have worked for has been Java only, right? So as a part of this session, I'm going to talk about that what my journey has been with Java. And also since I have taught so many students so far, right? This is the professional journey of mine, but at the same time, if you ask me, I have a neck for teaching. I have been teaching for so many years. I have been teaching from the time the edtech was not cool. So all the edtechs in India and abroad, most of them I have already taught. So through the experience of my students of working in all the different companies, I would like to talk around that. What is the scope of Java, right? How do you make it big in Java? What are the challenges that you see in the Java? And how I see the future as a Java engineer. So all those things I'm going to discuss today. Said that, you have already seen that I have no PPTs. Being an engineer, I'm not a big fan of presentation and PPT or slides. I try to keep it raw. So everything that I write in the session today will be from the scratch. I'll try to take hints from you. I'll try to develop as and when we progress. So everything will be started from the scratch. I don't want to bring the slides and then read through it. Does that work for you people? Chalega? I didn't want it because I know अंग्रेजी आपको भी आती है, slides आप भी पढ़ सकते हो. So to bring slides and then walk through that, I just don't feel that makes much sense. Right? Fair enough. But before I move in, I also need some kind of commitment from you guys. I know this webinar is free, totally free of cost, but it involves some time. For the next 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever time that we're going to discuss, you have investing time. So मैं आपसे ये expect कर रहा हूँ कि try to make the best out of it. Ensure that if you're investing X amount of time into this, you're making 10x out of it. How is that possible? Just stay alert. Make sure that everything that you have a doubt you ask today, and you take out something. When you return out of this webinar, you would have got something, right? So make sure that you're attentive. Can I expect that thing? Next 30 to 40 minutes, I would expect that you put all your WhatsApp in the silent. Don't get distracted too much on the social media. And, we make the best out of this session. Can I expect this from you people? Hi, Anna. Bolo. Very nice. Cool. So now let's get started with the topic itself. So now we're going to talk about, any topic that we're going to talk about. Normally, this is how I start, right? In the modern world, you have 1,000 things to learn. And it's humanly impossible to actually go and learn everything, go and master everything, right? You always have to prioritize. Something which might be important for me to learn as a software engineer might not be relevant to you. So it's again different at the different levels of the career and different for the different individuals. So anytime anybody asks you to learn any topic, you should always follow a strategic steps of, first of all, you should understand what that topic is. Right? Hai kya wo? What is that I'm learning? Because unless until you understand what the topic is, the next part you cannot answer, right? So first of all, you have to understand what the topic is, and then you have to go and take the answer that why. This is the most critical part, that why should I learn this? Why should I join this webinar? Why should I listen to you? Why should I care about Java, right? So this part is super, super important because that will help you prioritize. That will help you decide that is it worth joining this session? Is it worth joining this course? Is it worth joining this topic? Right? So why आप हमेशा करना? So even in my sessions, whenever I teach anything, in this webinar, if I talk about anything, I'll try to stress upon that we have some logical evidence, we have some logic, we have some way through which I'm saying that you should be attending this webinar, right? And once we have done these two things, we have talked about what, we have talked about why, then comes the final part, how. ये दोनों अगर आपने अच्छे से कर लिया, the what and why is clear, I think how part is pretty simple. Right? I'll try to keep most of the things in English. Few other people have requested for the Hindi, so somewhere I'll try to bring in. Okay, Vidya? Perfect. So now the first question, before I go and talk about that, how do you become a rockstar Java developer? Before I go and talk about the rockstar Java developer, let's start from a very basic question itself. In the today's modern world, then there are so many languages like Python, like Golang, like JavaScript, like C++, like Scala. So many languages on the earth, on the planet. Why do we still care for Java? Why? I'm assuming what is Java does not make sense. I believe all of you already know it. Java is a programming language, right? A programming language is the way through which you go and tell your computer. So I believe all of us know that Java is a programming language. But my question to you people is, so many languages on this earth, what is so special about Java? Why should I care to learn? Can you guys put that into the chat? I want to hear your perspective. I want you all guys to participate with me. Tell me, why do you think in so many languages on the earth, so many languages on the planet, why should I still care for Java? Security purpose. Okay. Okay, let me write down the point that you guys are saying. Some of you are saying that it's because of the security, right? Other people are you saying that it's easy to use. What else? Someone is saying that it is in trend. Someone is saying that it is flexibility. Beginner friendly. Okay. Platform independent. Oops. Someone is saying write once and run anywhere. Oops. I think you all people are right. Normally, what happens when you start learning any programming language, you pick any programming language, be it C++ or Python or Java or C, any programming language you take, and you take any standard reference book, and in that standard reference book, you go to chapter number 1. You take any programming language, book a standard reference book, which is the most famous in that genre. Go to that chapter 1. Every language will say that they are best among any other programming language in some way. Every language will say that learn this. And it has to go that way, because if the author will not talk high about the programming language, who will read that? So what you guys are telling me are basically the first chapter things of Java. Normally, when you start reading Java, learning Java, and you take any standard book, or you take any standard, the educator, in the first session, he will talk about all these things. It's a platform independent, it's secure, it's easy, right? It's, write once and, run every time, anywhere. Right? All these things are the standard bookish things. All these things are true. But that is true for every other programming language. If you go and read the first chapter of the C, it will say the same thing. If you go on C++, it will say the same thing. Golang also, it will say the same thing. Do you guys agree? And if you read the first chapter of any language, they all will say that Bhaiya, C++ is the best language, Python is amazing, right? Every book will say that. So I'll not go that first page wala reason. I'll try to talk more from the practical perspective, from my experience. So all those things you guys already know. I'm nothing new that I'm going to teach you, right? Because I believe most of the people who are joining this, they're already from the Java stack. Let me talk about, the more practical reasons. Why should I learn Java? The first reason, if I look around myself in the modern world, right? What are the things where you see the technology is playing role? One of the way could be like web applications. One of the ways could be like mobile applications. Another could be, say, for example, the IoT devices. Another could be, say, for example, sensors. Another could be the microprocessors. Another could be like, the devices, standalone devices. One of the best and the beautiful part of the Java is that Java could be used to make all of these. The fridge which is working in your house, the smart TV which is working in your house, the mobile phone that you are using, everything has Java in it. So Java provides you that complete ecosystem where not just one or two or three, but almost every kind of technological application that you see in the market, in your house, in outside world, everything everything could be done with the help of the Java. So when you learn Java, you just don't learn one thing. You have the capability to build almost everything which is there in the text space. So that's one of the biggest advantages which Java gets compared to any other programming language. So that's I rate Java higher. That's number one. Number two, if I talk about very practical, why do I need to do programming? Why do you want to become a good software engineer? If this interview was in some kind of philanthropic event or some kind of setup like UPSC interview or MBA interview, you might say that I want to learn Java to improve the technological landscape of India and abroad. Something of that sort you can say. But if you ask you very practical, man ki baat batao, tell me from your heart to heart, you will say that I want to become a good Java developer because at the end of a day, I want to earn a lot of money, right? Good salary, good job. Fair enough. At the end of our day, I believe the biggest motivation to learn and work is to bring a better life to yourself and your family. Do you guys agree with me? So keep things very practical. As a person, your market, right? You should learn something which will get you the better job opportunities. Now, if you talk about all the big companies, big product based companies, we talk about all the big product-based companies, right? If I talk about 70% of their products, and I'm talking about which kind of products, those are scalable, which are catering to the millions of the people, which are having high compute rate, right? All of those products are based out of Java. So typically, when you learn something which is actually also relevant in the market, which can help you get job ready. Typically, that's another motivation. I should pick that language which is more relevant in the market itself. Okay. Pratik, this session is not about for you to join this batch or that batch or any batch, right? This is more around the Java. But I can take this question later on, Pratik. Am I clear? I can take this question later because this will kind of change the tone of the session. But so I should learn Java because this is what is relevant in the market. I should learn Java because all the big product-based companies, most of the products that I go and see, which are scalable, which are scattered for the millions of the users, they are typically written in Java. Fair enough. That's the another reason. The third and the most important reason because of which I really have a respect for the Java. And this is for everyone who is watching it, for those especially who are freshers. If you talk about this IT sector is both challenging and at the same time very unfair sometimes. In IT sector, I always say to my students that change is the only constant. What that means to me? For those people who did engineering with me in the core branches, say for example, they did in civil or mechanical. The beauty part of these folks who have joined the civil sector or mechanical sector, as they grow, as they age, right, as they have more and more experience in the industry, with age, with years of experience, their value, their salary, both increases. Unfortunately, in the IT sector, sir, as you grow, as your number of years in the industry increases, if you don't keep pace with the technological world, if you don't keep yourself upgrading, if you can't keep on learning, normally you will be thrown out. In the world of tech, whether you are a programming language like C++, whether you are a technology, say for example, SOAP is a technology, or whether you are a software developer like me, if we don't upgrade ourselves, this industry don't even think twice before throwing you out. You would have always heard of multiple news around the layoffs, right? Firing, it's so common. So this is one of the biggest challenge of the IT world. If you don't keep yourself learning, if you don't keep yourself evolving, the industry will not think twice before throwing you out. This is a very harsh reality. Even today, if you look around, if I'm 13 plus years of experience, even today, every day I try to learn something new because I know you folks were coming out of the college, you're much more smarter and having a lot of resources. So if I don't keep myself up to the pace, you can just throw me out of the industry. That's how the harsh reality is. But at the same time, if you are learning, if you are upskilling yourself, this industry is a lot of, this industry gives you a lot of respect. This industry gives you a lot of opportunities and a lot of money. I always say that in India, after Bollywood or cricketers, if any profession who can buy BMW without a loan is software engineers, and that's possible. Okay. So this concept, which is change is the only constant, change is the only constant. Java took it by heart. Java took it by heart. Java is always evolving. If I look around the industry, when the whole of the industry is either still working on Java 8 or few of them are working on Java 11, I believe Java has already released 19 plus. I think 20 also it has come. I have not checked of late. So Java is always futuristic. They're always upgrading, improving. They're always looking towards the future. I'll give you an example. 3-4 years back, right? People started talking about the functional programming. Functional programming. They started saying that you know what, Java is kind of slow. Java, you write like lots of code, lots of code. So on the pretext of saying things, the Java is slow, Java takes a lot of lines of code to be written, a new programming paradigm, functional programming, was coming in the limelight. And for that, a new programming language was coming, which was called as Scala. Scala was again JVM based, and it was on the pretext that Java is slow, it takes a lot of time to write. People should now move to Scala. But before even the Scala can, put its foot strong, one of the biggest releases of Java released its version Java 8, in which it brought the concept of Lambda and it brought the concept of functional interface. So before even the Scala could put its foot strong, Java already provided all the features of functional programming as well as the point that I'm trying to say here is that how Java has kept itself competitive to all the other programming languages in the market right now. This is the most beautiful thing about the Java that I like. They're very futuristic. Every year they'll keep on improving, thinking about the future, not the present context, but futuristically. And that's one of the best things that I like about the Java. And that's how I don't fear, if I learn Java today, I know that it's a language of future. It's going to stay for many, many years. And that's one of the most important things when you're choosing a stack. Fair enough. Does it make sense? Do you guys agree to me that now learning Java is actually beneficial? You should not learn because I'm telling you. You should learn because if you find it is logical. Fair enough. मेरे पास ब्लैक कलर की BMW है कुलदीप ठीक है चलो now let's try to move on. So we have all understood that भैया Java तो हो गया. We should know Java. What else? What else should I know to make it big? We'll talk about the question answers later on. Once I know Java, what should I do next? Okay. How in the industries things work? Okay. So two things. Once you have learned Java, you have to now think around two strategies. One is, once I've learned Java, how I can go and write the efficient code in Java. See, if I talk about I'll come back to this slide. If I talk about the modern world, every company has become data hungry. Right? 2 days back, I was clicking on ICICIbank.com. I was just randomly clicking. I haven't been logged in. And again, I get a call that, Bhaiya, do you need loan? Right. Anything that you do on a website, any website these days, they are collecting your information. Previously, I was working for LinkedIn. And anything that you do on LinkedIn, whether you hover over a post, you like it, you comment it, you look for a job, all of that is getting recorded. Everything that you do on Google, Google know you better than your mom and wife and girlfriend, right? So what it means that today in the modern world, every company is so much heavily dependent on data, right? Which is resulting in the creation of huge amount of. If I give you certain perspective, let's say that this was the time when the human civilization started, and this is the year 2023. And let's say that during this time, X was the total amount of data created. Correct. 90% of X has been created in last 2 to 3 years. If I say that from the time the human civilization started till 2023, if X is the total data created, 90% of that has been created in the last 2 to 3 years. Such. I think this would have given you context. Sorry, I'm having cough. This would have given you a little context that how fast are we creating data. Now, when I go and create data with such a huge volume, it will always give me two challenges: challenge of storage and challenge of computation. So whenever you go and work for any of these companies, right? Whenever, let's say that, as a software engineer, I feel that we all should aim very high. We should try to aim for, working for the companies who are the torch bearers of tech. For example, Google, for example, Facebook, for example, LinkedIn. When you aim big, you can achieve big, right? So all of these companies are facing these problems. So when you go and work for these kind of companies, you have to deal with huge storage, huge computation. How do you do it? In order to store efficiently and do the best computation, you should be good in data structure and algorithms. Since Java is a stack which is mostly used in the big companies for the scalable products, it becomes inherently important for a Java developer to be good in data structures and algorithms. If you become good in data structures and algorithms, trust me, your demand in the market will become exponentially high. Fair enough. So in order to write the efficient code and come back, one of the things that a Java developer has to do is that it should have a good hold on DSA. Am I making sense? Does it make sense to you people? Is it clear? Bolo. Am I clear? So now with this, I expect that, let's say that, you have learned Java. And then after learning Java, you also know DSA. So you know how to run the efficient code. But at the end of the day, let's say that if you go and go, let's say that you get selected in Google, मान लीजिए. Now Google will not pay you money for writing data structures and algorithm code. If Google is paying you hefty amount, the Google will expect you to build applications. And Google is just a placeholder name. It could be any other company. Any company who pays you money, they are not doing philanthropy. They will not say, Acha, you know Java, you know data structures and algorithm, you just keep on solving lead code problems and we'll pay you money. It's not going to happen like that. Any company who pays you money, they would like to make more out of that, right? So they would expect you to know how to build applications. And that's where I think the other important step that you need to do is that you should know how using Java I can build applications. Application could be of different types. It could be a web application. It could be a mobile application. It could be an IoT devices. It could be a microprocessor. There could be different types of applications. Let's say that for the reference, I'm talking in the modern world, in the today's world, let's say that I'm talking about the web applications. So what should I do next? What should I learn next? So when I go and talk about companies, right? When I go and talk about them, when I go and start working for a company, in any company, you never work on a native programming language. You never work on any programming language directly. In a company, you always work for something called as framework. Whatever the programming language it is, it could be C++, it could be Java, it could be Python. But when you start working in the company, you have to work in a framework. You cannot directly work in a programming language. Hey guys, is my voice not audible to you people? Can you guys please confirm? Is it like to everyone or it's only Prateek? I'll just take a pause. Thanks Prateek for raising it up. Is it better now? Prateek, is it better now? I've just changed my mic. Can you check and let me know? Thanks for flagging, you know. Cool. So what I was saying is, you have right now learned Java, but as soon as you land up in a company, the company will expect you to know something called as a framework. Now I know few of the people have already been putting into the chat. Hey guys, is my voice audible? Are you guys able to hear me? एक बार बताओ यार clearly. Hello, hello, hello. Perfect. So I've got the multiple confirmation from the multiple people that voice is audible and clear. So I'll take it on that. Okay. I have seen you people have already written, few of you have already written about the framework. Can anybody help me understand what is framework? What do we understand by framework? What is the meaning of framework? Anyone? Can you put that into the chat? In simple words, the more simplistic you can make, I'll add the more, I'll give you additional brownie points. What is framework?
less lines of code. Okay. Let me do one thing. This is a small exercise. I always take this example when I teach my students framework. One second. Huh? Let me do one thing. I think this will help you get clarified with a lot of. अच्छा ऋतिक आपने ये वाला एग्जाम्पल सुना हुआ है लेट मी गिव दैट एग्जाम्पल लेट मी पुट दैट इमेज if so that everyone is clear on that. Hmm. Have you guys seen this sweet? We call it gujia. Have you guys eaten this sweet? It's sweet in taste. आप लोगों ने खाया है? Can you guys tell me what you guys call it in your hometown? What is that called? Gujia only you guys call it, huh? Perfect. So normally if I go and talk about, in Holi, it's North India typically, we have a custom of making gujia. And my mom especially is very emotional about it. Emotional about making gujias. So every time Holi happens, she will make a lot of gujias for everyone. So this time when I was home, right, me and my sister both were at home, and we decided that we'll help our mother make gujias. Right. So my mom being an expert, when she used to make gujia, it was in perfect shape, right? When my sister made the same gujia, right, it was somehow distorted. When I tried my hands, it was a complete disaster. I don't know what I made. So my mom, instead of feeling helped, she felt agitated that, you guys are just disturbing me. You are spoiling my gujias. And she being so much emotional about her gujia, she just threw it out. Now I felt that, my so many gujias my mom has to make, so many guests has come up. It's very tough. I should definitely help her out. So in order to solve this, what I did, I went to the market. And in these days in the market, you get gujia makers, the plastic gujia makers or the steel gujia makers. So I brought the gujia maker home. I gave one gujia maker to my mom, to one to me, and to my sister. Now, no matter who is making this gujia, every time the shape of the gujia is coming perfect and the same. Now, what this gujia maker did right now, it ensured that no matter who is making that gujia, be it my mom, be it me, or be it my sister, the minimum quality is ensured. Same thing, sir, framework does in the industry. When you work in a company, see, when you work alone, right now, let's say that if you're learning Java, you're working alone. So if you create a project, it's only you who has to work, right? You are happy with whatever that you do. Normally, when you cook alone, whatever quality of food that you cook, you always like it. But when it comes about the companies, right? When it comes about the companies, in a company, in a single project, you will find that there are multiple people who are working. Even if they have learned Java from the same person, it's me, then also every person will have the different level of understanding and execution. Now, and everyone works, I have to ensure that everyone at least follows the minimum standard. Minimum standard is followed. That's definitely needed. That's number one. Number two is that the people should be able to collaborate. They should be able to share the code easily. So only if they talk the same language, if they follow the same standards, if they follow the same principle, they will be able to manage code among each other. That's three. Also, since everyone is working, some boilerplate codes, boilerplate could be automated. So these are the primary reasons. This is what a framework is, and that's why we need it. And almost every place, no matter which programming language that you go and work, let's say if it is Python, then you find Django. If it is Node, then you find Express. If it is Java, you find a framework called as Spring almost everywhere. That's what a framework is, and that's why it is important for you to learn a framework. Does it make sense, guys? Am I clear? Are you guys with me? Fair enough. Okay. So as a Java developer, right? As a Java developer, when you have to go and work and create applications for the companies, typically one of the framework that you will be confronted will be the Spring framework. Almost 99% of companies, they work in Spring. So if you want to make it big, if you want to be a part of this companies, you definitely also have to learn the Spring framework. So what all things that we have learned so far? You start with Java. In one parallel track, you keep on learning DSA, but at the same time, Java is incomplete in itself. You don't learn Spring. So you have to be the master of the Spring. Right? Now, this is not enough. When you go and create any application using Spring, typically you are creating a scalable application. You're trying to build an application which can be easily modified, which is easy for people to understand. It is easy to execute. Now, this application development, if I go and talk about, it is happening for many years. Many years. It's not new now. So many of the people, many of the great software engineers, they have built hundreds of softwares so far in the past. And every time they build that software, they had their own learnings. For example, when you learn anything and you do some mistake, you get to learn, hey, I should not write like this. I should not do this. When I go and write code like this is how it breaks in production. So many software engineers building so many applications in the past, they came with something called as some common patterns, some common patterns. They said that if you follow these patterns, your application will be smooth. If you don't follow pattern, you might witness failures. The software is too much related to the real world. In the real world, you always hear to your parents, your mom and dad, your uncle, your aunt, anyone who's elder in your family will always say, beta, do this, otherwise this will not go right. How they are saying that? They're saying with their experience. Your mom, dad will always tell their experience of their, adulthood, right? Their times of learning. And then based on that, they will tell you, I made this mistake, you don't do it. Same way in the world of programming, many software engineers, the great software developers, they have built so many softwares. Many of them broke, many of them failed. So these people had their learning and they've started documenting things that what are the NT patterns, what should I not do, and what things should be done so that when you build application in the today's modern world, they are best. At least you can learn from those mistakes so that those mistakes are not repeated. So in the today's modern world, if you want to become a great software engineer, you should learn previous software developer mistakes and learnings. Because if you know what is already wrong and if you know what is right, I think if you take decision on the top of it, you can do and build application much faster in a better way. How can you do this? Can anybody put me this? How can I do this? For this, there's a concept called as design patterns and design principles. I find it equally important for the today's modern software developers like you and me to be aware about what are the design principles and what are the design patterns. These are the documented ways that people who have working in the past have told us, if you do it this way, things will go well, otherwise things might go haywire. Right? So as a software engineer, you should be aware about the design principle. Very nice. Design principle could be like solid design principle, right? Dry design principle is a base also. These are different types of design principles that we have. Then if I go and talk about the design pattern, there's a group of 4 design principles. So I believe that if you want to become a pakka, solid software developer in the Java track, typically you should have a good understanding of the design patterns and the design principles. It's a pack. Yes, absolutely correct. Fair enough. So what I have done so far as a Java developer, I have known the language. In parallel, I continue doing DSA, but I understood the framework. Spring. And then I know design principle and patterns. Yeah, I will ask the team, all those people who are registered to this, I'll convert these into the PDF and I'll share with you guys. Okay. These are the things that you need to have a must have. To become a rock star in the field of. And if you do know this, trust me, guys, there's a huge demand of Java developers, both as a fresher as well as experience. If you know all these things in details, you can do freelancing, you can build your own applications, and I don't see anywhere, no company in this world where you cannot work with this tech stack. Fair enough, everyone. Am I clear till this point? Does it make sense, guys? Batao. Am I clear till this? Perfect. Awesome. Very nice. So now what I'll do is, this is mostly that I wanted to talk around, Java ecosystem, but I'll try to keep it open now for any kind of doubts or question that you guys have. Please try to keep on asking one after the another. Once I have answered your question, I want to pick as many questions as possible. Whatever doubts that you have in the mind, I'll try to, take that up and we'll discuss that. Okay. So you guys can post your questions and I'll start, taking it up. You can put that into the Q&A section so that I know where the question is, and then and follow up, you can do it in the comments. Artificial intelligence, what is the question? Now, which is the best course of learning Java with the DSA? So yeah, dekho, what happens is Java DSA. See, I will give you a very real world example. Learning Java data structure algorithm is like going to a gym. Okay. Just like in the gym, there is no rocket science. Everyone who goes to gym for 6 months, uski body banni hi banni hai, right? It does not depend on any other factor. The only factor which helps you get a good physique is that regularity. If you go to a gym every day for the next 6 months, आपकी body बनेगी बनेगी. Same way, if you write code and learn Java data structures and algorithms for the next 6 months consistently, you will become a good rock star developer. Now, just the thing which applies there applies here also. In the case of the gym, if let's say that you go on day one and you do a lot of exercise, and next for the next 6 days you don't go, again you go on the seventh day, again you go on 15th day. If you go like this irregularly, if you keep on doing exercise even for 2 years, your belly fat will not come down. Same will happen in the coding also. If you do write a lot of code today, let's say that you get too motivated today and you spend next 6 hours writing code, and for the next 10 days you just don't do anything, and again you repeat the same trend, it's not gonna help. Right? So the first important thing that you need to learn is that in order to master data structures and algorithm, you have to be consistent. Said that, in the gym, another thing which helps is a trainer. अगर आप एक अच्छा trainer gym में लोगे, if you take a good trainer in the gym, he will help you to reduce that 6 months of time for making body to say like 2 or 3 months. But then again, you have to be wise when you're choosing a trainer. A good trainer will help you achieve your targets very fast. But if the trainer is not right, he might make you steroid addict. He might put you on steroids. You might find injuries. Okay. Same is true in the world. In the modern world, if you look around on YouTube, कई सारे दीदी भैयास हैं. लोग अभी कॉलेज में ही हैं and they have started teaching data structures and algorithm, right? So you have to be a little careful that who you are choosing. Try to see the credibility. Has the person himself or herself done it, right? Because finding the right trainer is very, very important, right? So again, I'll expect you guys to do a little background check who you are hearing to. You are not, no, this is a very serious thing. You should try to spend time on someone who has actually done it and teach you in the right, proper way. There's a plethora of information on the internet. It's very easy to get distracted. Correct? So choose wisely as a mentor, because that might help you to learn things very fast, which you can avoid mistakes through that learning, right? So typically there are many multiple resources. I can talk about at PW Skills we take things very seriously. We have also a few of the courses on Java DSA. Even I am planning to bring a free course because it has become so basic and so important. I'm trying to bring a detailed topic-wise Java DSA on the YouTube itself. And in some time, a few months from now, I'm planning to launch at a very minimal price, a FANG ready course where I'll keep Java as a main stack because most of the FANG companies work in Java, and then teach in detail around data structures, algorithms, Spring Framework, everything around the FANG in a few months, right? So that's again could be one of the resources which you guys can rely upon. Fair enough. I hope that answered the question. Here, there's another important question. Some of the students asking where is the Python stands in front of Java. See, if I go and talk about Python, is just a scripting language. Java is a compiled language. What it means by compiled and scripting, अगर मैं simple इसको कर दूं, तो it means that it's little slow runtime. This is faster. But the beauty about the Python is very easy to learn. Easy to learn. Since it is easy to learn, most of the people who are in the field of data science, where the main focus in analyzing the data, they choose a language which is easy. And that's why typically you go and make use of Python. So Python mostly has a lot of relevance in the field of the data because there are lots of libraries around it. Because you're interested in the data science field, it makes sense for you to stick to the Python because Most of the libraries, most of the the algorithms for the machine learning, for categorizations, I think typically you have a lot of support in the Python. So I think that it makes sense for you to learn. Now, another question that people is asking that can AI impact on Java developers? I believe आपका क्वेश्चन ये भी होगा कि AI के बदले में what is chat GPT, where the chat GPT stands, right? Correct. So, off late, anywhere I go, people are so much frightened. They're scared about Java, because of the chat GPT coming in. I was in US few months back, and there also in almost all the webinars, all the sessions, all the panel discussion, the center of discussion was same everywhere. Will chat GPT replace developers? Now, there are two kinds of people. There's one person who relies fully on chat GPT. Let's say that I don't know anything. I want to make use of ChatGPT to write code for me. I know that in the modern world today, if you go and say ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, can you write me a code in Java for the Fibonacci series? ChatGPT will give you the code. Now, if you are falling in this first category of the person who does not know anything, fully dependent on the ChatGPT for the code execution, when you go and say that, hey ChatGPT, can you go and generate me a code for Fibonacci series? ChatGPT gives you say like 10 lines of code. If you are blindly copy pasting this, if you're blindly using this and then putting into the use, that's where the problem is. If you don't know if the code written by the chat GPT is right or wrong, there's no way that you can understand it, then you are actually going in a big problem. On the other hand, if you're smart, that when the chat GPT gives you the code, you should have the smartness, you should have the intelligence, you should have the understanding to know if that code is right or not, it's relevant to you or not, it is relevant to the problem statement or not. If you can go and understand this, that's when it's going to be helpful to you, right? So the summary of the story is today we are at that juncture where you cannot avoid AI. Actually, AI is there, and going ahead as a software developer, you will have to make use of the AI tools to make you work faster, otherwise you will get too slow. But the beauty there still lies is that AI is also for the smart brains. So if the chat GPT come, does not mean that you don't need to learn Java. It does not mean that you don't need to know the concept. You still need to know the concept. Because only when you know concept, then when you get the answers from the chat GPT, generative AI, you will be able to know if that is the right answer to me or not. And if you are able to take that call, yes, this is right and this is wrong, then that's great. But if you are not, then you are actually again, you will not be able to write the efficient code, right? So the answer is there is no threat as such if you are a good software engineer. In the case, if you're not aware, the chat GPT definitely could be a big threat for you and the organization that you work for. Fair enough? There is no minimum. So one of the beauty about the FANG companies, one of the beauty about the FANG companies is that they have no requirements. They only judge people on DSA and system design. They just focus on fundamentals. So there is no as such requirement, right? If you're good in fundamentals, if you have a good in DSA, system design, I think you're there. Prateek is saying, I can learn code Java, intermediate DSA, MySQL, JDBC, servlets, Hibernate, now learning Spring Framework. After that, what roadmap I can follow? I'm the last year student of CSE. I will say, Prateek, that when you say intermediate DSA, make it the advanced DSA. Try to spend more time in the DSA, I believe, because other things, if you have already done it, I think that's already cool. right? You have already talked about so many frameworks. I don't want you to learn any other framework. I'll say that whatever time that is left for you, try to master more and more of a DSA, because that will help you get better. And also try to learn few basic computer fundamental. You should understand how the internet works. You should have understanding of operating systems. You have a basic understanding of the network. These are the basic computer fundamental skills that you should be aware of. A little around the databases. If you know all these things, I think you are at the right place. So Vidya, it will depend on your goal, right? So let's say that if you want to become a software engineer, right? In that case, definitely you should learn Java. But let's say that you want to become a data scientist. In that case, you don't need it. But if anybody asks me, see, data science does not exist on its own. If there is YouTube, then there's a recommendation system. If there's a Netflix, there is a movie recommendation. If only there is a Amazon.com, Amazon.com comes first, and then you have the recommendation of the products, right? So the data science always follows software, the product. First the software comes, and then the data science comes in, right? And if I also look around the job opportunities, typically the number of job roles for a software developer is much, much higher than the data scientist on any day. If anybody asks me that what should be in a normal, sequence in which I should be learning, so I want everyone to be first a good software developer and then learn the machine learning. But now, since you have already enrolled into the data science course, right, I will leave up to you. If you still want to, just go directly into the data science role, I think you should stick to that. But if you want to become a software engineer and also explore opportunities around it, I believe that's where Java Stack could help. Rihan, that should be good enough. That should be good enough. The DSA, okay, DSA roadmap. Let me quickly do it. I think I've already put a DSA roadmap in PW Skills Tech channel. PW Skills Tech channel. I have already talked about the whole detailed roadmap. Please watch it. I will take up another question because this I have talked in detail. It's recorded on the PW Skills Tech channel DSA roadmap. Okay. Mitesh, see, for a few of the things which I've already put there, Mitesh. So, for the architectures, architectures, which is monolithic. So, or microservices. I had a detailed discussion. I think it was another live session, and it is again there on the PW Skills Tech channel. I would request you to please watch it. You will have all your doubts clarified. If you still don't have, you can again ping me over the LinkedIn. DSA Java playlist in YouTube. I am working on that, Arka. So that will be done. Anything else, people? Do you have any other doubts or questions? Okay, now people were asking for the new Java 15, Java. So as I told you, right, there are multiple steps in the Java, right? In the Java, you have to first learn Java, then you have to do DSA, and then you have to do the application development. So in this Java 15,000 wala jo batch hai, in this we're covering all of these. Typically in that previous batch, we only try to cover these two things, right? But in this 15K wala thing, we are doing the complete stuff. So we are doing this, and we are also doing the application development around the spring. So this will give you the end-to-end exposure, everything which is needed in the modern world to become an advanced Java developer. It is done. Let me show you that course, quickly. So if I go and share my screen, right? So if I go and open this, this is the batch that you will see here, right? Building microservices in Java for the cloud. So title says a lot of things, but if I keep it simple, right, it will teach you Java. It will teach you data structures and algorithm. It will teach you Spring Boot and Spring, the framework. And then the concepts around the monolithic service-oriented architecture and microservices, what they are, and how do we build microservices in Java stack in the modern world. That's how the whole course revolves. right? So you guys can feel free, I can just put into the chat also if you want to, explore this, you guys can feel free to do it. So I'll just put that into the chat for everyone, this link, and you guys can explore this course. The job assurance says that, I'll tell about what is the meaning of the job assurance. It says that if you go and cover 60%, right? If you complete the 60% of the course, do all the assignments, test, all those things, then we will ensure that you get interviews. See, at the end of the day, cracking interview will totally depend on you, but we'll at least ensure that we map companies as per your. What we are also doing these days, for every course, we are giving you an complimentary access to a program called as a PPT program, which is called as a pre-placement training. So you enroll into any of the program, you get free access to this PPT, which is more of like a 2 month program, apart from over and above the entire course. In this, we help you in multiple ways. We help you in building the profiles, right? LinkedIn profile, GitHub profile, resume. We help you in building the soft skills, complete revision, and then interview preparedness. So this PPT program again aims to help you make you job ready. This PPT program again aims to make you job ready so that you're always ready for the stuff. Cool. What else? It will be mostly English, but Indian English यार हिंदी अंग्रेजी दोनों में बात करेंगे. I am also Nitin sir will be teaching you. I will be also taking sessions in this batch. See, full stack web development typically, if I go and talk about full stack, it is based on Mern stack. Mern stack are the hot favorite for the startups. If you want to get more jobs in the startups, right? Typically, the Mern stack is the hot favorite. If you're trying to aim big for the companies like big product based companies, big hefty packages, right? Typically here Java stack will help you more, right? So these are the two different, depending on what you want to do, you can choose. Mufadal, I'll suggest, as I already previously talked about, right? Since you don't even come from the computer science, you come from the non-CS branch, right? Typically, you should take steps in a steady order, right? In a sequential order. And before you jump to the final top floor, let's say it is on third, you should first go to first, then second, then third. If you directly try to jump, you might not be, right? Unless until you are Shaktiman. So I will suggest just first try to become a good software engineer and then try to build on the top of it. So ideally, you should try to become a software engineer first and then jump from there. For assignments, have any deadlines? So in this upcoming batches, every week you have an assignment. Right. So if you don't do assignments, you will move to the next. So it will go and backlog. So typically, you will have to complete the assignments within that time frame itself, in that week itself. So there is no penalty as such. Typically, you will also have to write the test every week. So your assessment will be based on the marks that you score in the test. So Java, DSA, system design, as I told you, will be only a part of it. Typically, when you go and work for the company, you need to understand the frameworks, how the applications are built, and actually do enough of hands-on coding. So to be industry ready, I feel that you need to be aware of the frameworks and all. Question and answer. Let me open my Q&A thing. 1 second. एक ही. How do I learn Spring or the Spring Boot efficiently? See, the efficient way of learning any framework that you will try to learn, try to understand its little internals. That what is the principle on which it is built on? Say, for example, if I go and talk about the Spring is based on two principles. One is called as dependency injection, and another is called as inversion of control. So if you understand these two principles, कि भैया होता क्या है, what is dependency injection, what is inversion of control, you will have a better grasp on the Spring itself. So anything that you learn, so it's not only true for Spring or Spring framework, any framework, irrespective of the programming language, when you learn, try to understand what is the principle that is based on, how it is built, what are the the underlying grounds on which it is. If you do that, I think that's more than enough. So that should be your right strategy to do it. Certificate you will get to Vikas Kumar, you can just try to contact the support and they will help you there. Cool people, I hope this was helpful. If you guys think that it was helpful, uh, you know, uh, let me know. Put that over the LinkedIn, tag me there. Let me know what are different topics that you want me to bring more. I'm thinking to bring one live webinar every week on the different topics so that I can talk on those. You guys can feel free to ask it, keep it totally free. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope this was a helpful session for you people. Arka, I'll suggest that to be competitive, C may aajkal job are not there. There's no point that you spend too much of time doing GSA and C programming language or C++. If you are focusing on the job, I'll suggest that Java could be the right choice for you. आपको YouTube पे मिलेगा. If you go and search inside YouTube PW Skills Tech YouTube channel, you will find that video. ठीक है? Otherwise, you ping me over LinkedIn. I'll help you with that video link. Cool then, guys. I think it was really helpful. I really enjoyed. I hope you made a best out of this Sunday evening. Thanks for taking out time. And till then, I meet you guys next. Thanks for joining, and I hope you keep on learning. Thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you.